Hey, you. How are you? Good, how are you? Hey. Scoot around. Yeah.
We're going to get started in just a few more minutes. More folks are coming in. Live, we are trending. And so I'm just going to make that announcement a few times because I wouldn't want any accidents to happen if people are not aware that we are streaming tonight and we can get going live a few minutes before any presentation.
I think we just stand up here and
No, I got a lot of tissue voice. Where are you going?
we got a few more seats up front.
Right, oh yeah. Yeah. Right. But like the ice center.
Oh, that would have been great, huh?
Yes, I know. And I know that this person's
Okay. Calling the right person.
don't talk to you. You walk over.
All right.
Yeah, they did
Yes.
I know that they're in the department, but I don't know that everybody is. But I do, I wonder. Yeah. Yeah. You were here before, and so I don't think, I don't know. I don't know about you coming back, you know, but, you know, you already had several, it's just been a few years.
I did this weekend?
Right. Because it was, you know, it took me a few years. Right. Yeah. It took me a while, I guess. Yeah, No offense.
No, I get it.
I would absolutely love to let you, but to make it really work, you know.
First time.
Yeah, that's the first thing. The ones that they look at the cards, I got the charge.
Nothing I can do.
Yeah.
I'm scared. It's being live streamed, just in case you didn't know.
Which is all the more, all the more reason why we're not speaking. But we should get doing this.
Maybe not, but
Oh my God, are they looking for the bus?
is this thing hot yet?
Hi there, how are ya?
Hello?
See you at the gym tonight.
I didn't go home.
Really, by the time you get home from that, it's drive up here, it's so dark. When they tell you Monday is the best day of the week. I am in Fairway, I am on the west side, so I'm close to my schedule to Morgan. My street is like the best job, everybody had a job. It's nice, I like it here, I like working. It's just, you know, I just like tonight.
Prefer outside though, so we don't need to have to push ourselves.
I know, I noticed you like to run, so
Yeah.
you run a long time.
I used to be able to try to get back. When I was at my last one,
Yeah. I know, I wish I could. Some days I'll just put my stuff on paper and just put them on like right down there because if I can.
Yeah.
We do like the hour.
around here, yeah. So,
Good evening, everyone.
Stay away from the mic.
Welcome. As you're trickling in, there are still plenty of seats in the front, where the best seats are. I do want to start off by saying we are live streaming, so just so you're aware, we do have a microphone towards the back, and we wouldn't want any hot mic issues. So if you're at home listening, welcome. As far as safety goes, we have a variety of exits, should we need to use those. We also have restrooms. They're indicated with some easel directions out in the lobby. I'm Heidi Sweeney. I'm the executive principal of Paul V. Moore High School. And before we get started, this is what I want to say to you parents. If this is your first child or your fifth child, nobody's ever quite ready for this part. And we are a very kind, loving faculty and staff. And if nothing else, we want you to leave tonight feeling welcomed. This can be befuddling. This can be overwhelming. You don't have to figure it all out tonight. Our focus is really about your students and their 9th grade course selections. Mrs. Evans has some information that I'll share with you. Mr. Penrod is here. Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Penrod. And if you have any questions in the coming days, Mrs. Evans is likely who would be the best source to help you answer those questions. And I've got some information more that I'll share about her. Okay? Okay, we'll get started. We're going to meet a lot of people tonight, and it's really just to be able to put a face to a name so that in the coming years you'll be able to think back and think, I saw that person once. At Paul V. Moore, as part of the Central Square School District, we are really focused on empowering all students to excel in a changing world. We provide all kinds of experiences for students depending on their interests. We foster and encourage exploration. Here is where you would want to try that club, participate in a sport, take a class, so that you might have a better idea of what you would want to do as an adult. This is a very safe place to do that, and you don't have to pay for it outside of your parents' school taxes. But when you get to college, or if you take a program after high school, you are paying for those kinds of classes. And it's hard to go through school and think, I didn't really like what I took. So we would encourage you when we get to the elective section to really think about what would you want to take. We've got a lot of great areas, and we want to highlight those tonight. This is what we hope you leave with. Not feelings of confusion. So we're just trying to introduce a little bit about each of the content areas, as well as talk about graduation requirements. New York State has a set of requirements that all students have to meet to exit a public high school. There is word on the street, a lot of information coming from the Board of Regents about graduation pathways and requirements, but until we get any new information, we work with the information we have. So I already introduced myself. I'm Heidi Sweeney. We have an administrative team. We have Melissa Sisko. She's one of our assistant principals. Christopher Solori, who's in the back of the house there, and Damon Vilnate, also one of our assistant principals. We have 4 counselors, school counselors, and we split alphabetically. We've got Elizabeth Sorbello, A through E. Mrs. Sorbello. Mitchell Brousseau, F through L-E. James Petrella, L-I through R-I. And Timothy Wales, R-O through Z. So you kind of put a face to your child's last name. And I think this is where I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Wales.
Thank you. Welcome. As Dr. Sweetie said, I'm Timothy Wales. I'm one of the school counselors here. And like she said, whether it is your first, your middle, or your last, it's my last. I have an 8th grader coming into a high school next year, and even though it's my job, I'm a junior and a senior, I'm still very nervous. So I'm with all of you. Really today, I just want to talk about the graduation requirements, just so that you kind of have a big picture for the things that you're going to be hearing this evening. So you can see on the left-hand side, the areas of study that New York State requires and the credits. And when we think about credits, we usually will reference in the counseling office credits in years being the same sort of thing. So, for instance, I know that every student will take 4 years of English, of social studies, 3 math, 3 science. PE is 2 credits, but it's a half a credit each year. So they'll take PE every year. A half a year of health, at least 1 credit of an art or a music class, of fine arts. At least 1 credit of a foreign language, a world language. And then you can see to get to the required 22, they would take 3.5 electives. 3.5 electives are fulfilled many ways here. If you were to take an additional year of a foreign language, say you take 2, then that would be an elective. Say that you were to take something in art, business, technology, music that you'll hear about tonight. Those are also elective credits. On the right-hand side, you'll see the Regents requirements. So these are those Regents exams. If you graduated from high school in New York State, you're probably familiar with Regents exams. All students would need to take and pass English, 1 social studies, 1 science, 1 math, and then an additional Regents exam. So you'll see there that pathway option. So it could be an additional math, it could be an additional science, or the second social studies, English, CTE, world language, or arts, different sequences. So one of the things that I like to tell parents, to the 8th graders is, it is our responsibility to make sure that your child is on track for graduation. I know right now we're meeting with our 10th graders, and I tell each 10th grader, here's where you are with your credits, the number that you have, how many you still need, and so far, for everybody, you are on track for graduation. So that's something that we take a responsibility for. When we get into those classes, you can see that there are the content, the English, social studies, science, and math. We have different levels of those classes. I'm actually going to talk about them in a minute because we're going to show you this in a different way. And then the non-negotiable, as I said, everyone will take PE. So this is a sample schedule, and this is really important. I want to make sure that we highlight this. So you can see that we have 4 blocks. Our blocks are approximately 82 minutes. You can see that we alternate on an alternating ACBD day. So I know at the middle school, they have the E and the F. We just stop at the D. But here you can kind of see what a student's schedule may be. So their social studies class, which would be every other day, whether it be an honors or the traditional 9th grade class. The math class, and our department chairs will be talking about these this evening. Again, every other day. Your English, your science, your foreign language, PE. Now, PE is probably going to pair up with a science lab. And then, if you were to keep a study hall in your schedule, you could see where you would have an opportunity to add an elective in there. And the electives are over on the side, and those are what department chairs will also talk with you about this evening. What we'd like for you tonight is to be able to walk away with 1, 2 electives that are your highest, the ones, hey, I really think that my child will enjoy this. For the students, for the kids that are here, You can also look around, you can also hopefully get engaged in some things. We know you're going to come up next Wednesday. And so we're going to give you more of an opportunity to see what we have. As I talked about, 4 blocks every day, approximately 80 minutes, 5 minutes between blocks. And we have an advisement period every day for half an hour between our second and third period, where this is an opportunity for any student to go to any teacher to get additional help that they may need. Mr. Kiwanis, am I speaking for Mr. Kiwanis?
Well, you're handing up. I'll speak for myself.
Oh, there you are. I have these bright lights over here, Mr. Kiwanis, I'm sorry.
Well, for the live stream. For the live stream.
Feel like I should sing. Hi, thanks for coming out. I'm Fred Kiwanis. I teach earth science and environmental science. I'm the science coordinator here. Some of you are my students. I know one of the concerns that the incoming freshmen often have is the 80-minute block. They think that's going to be like torture. And I asked my 9th grade students, they actually like the 80-minute block because they said their day feels like it's a little more calm with fewer changes between classes. And another big concern my freshmen had coming in was getting lost. And usually after a couple of days, you know your schedule, you know your way around, you'll be just fine. As far as the science goes, we have 3 options for the incoming 9th graders. The majority will take Regents Earth Science, which, you know, if you graduated from New York State, you probably took Regents Earth Science back in your day. It hasn't changed a whole lot since then. But, there is a lab connected to it, and that gets scheduled in, as Mr. Wales said, opposite gym. If you are currently taking Regents Bio and you really like it, and you want to pursue possibly a career in science, you may want to consider the CCC, that's the Cayuga Community College Earth Science. The first semester, the first half of the year, is Cayuga College Geology, and it aligns with the New York State Regents curriculum as well. So the second half, Mr. Argus teaches the rest of the New York State Regents Earth Science curriculum. It's an excellent course, again, if you're really interested in science. If you're not so interested in science, maybe you're currently struggling with science or struggling with tests in general, my environmental science is almost like a pre-biology course, which does not have an extra lab. We do labs in the class. I'm very proud of it because we put a lot of time and energy into it to make it interesting. But we kind of develop the reading and writing and science skills that you will apply in 10th grade when you do take Regents Biology. So those are the 3 choices: environmental, Regents, or the honors CCC Earth Science. And folks, if you have any further questions, I'll be here afterward, or you can always email me here at the high school. So.
Hi, my name is Kathy Strope. I'm the department coordinator for math in the high school. Students who are currently taking algebra in 8th grade, students who are taking algebra in 8th grade will either take geometry or geometry honors next year, and both of those courses conclude with the geometry Regents exam. All other 9th graders next year they'll take an algebra class. There's 2 algebra classes. There's the traditional Algebra 1, which is what most kids will take, but there's also an Algebra 1A, which is just like a simplified version of Algebra 1. Follows the same curriculum, just a little bit simpler terms, kind of calculator-based. Both of those classes conclude with the Algebra Regents in June. So all 9th graders take a Math Regents at the end of 9th grade. If you have any questions about what course would be best, I'm sure your counselors can help out, or if you have questions for me, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming. I'm Megan Vecchio. I'm a social studies teacher here at PVM. I teach Global 9 and Global 9 Honors. So we have 2 pathways for Global for 9th grade. So either the traditional pathway, that would be Global 9 Regents, or the accelerated pathway, which is Global 9 Honors. which prepares you for the second half of global, which will be in 10th grade. With this particular course, there isn't, with actually both the 9 and 9 honors, there isn't a Regents at the end of 9th grade. It will be taken at the end of 10th grade. However, the skills that we work on in 9th grade will play a part in that 10th grade Regents, of course. It doesn't mean, I always like to highlight this, doesn't mean if you take regular global on 9 that you can't take AP World next year. You can always mix and match, and if you feel like 9 honors isn't the right fit for you, you could always take regular global 10 the year after that. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Ryan Bronner. I teach English 11 and 12 here at the high school, and I'm the department coordinator for the English department. 9th grade, you basically have 2 choices you can make. You have English 9 or an English 9 honors. English 9 honors is just a more rigorous choice where it might depend on you having a greater understanding of skills to be able to do more rigorous work as you go forward. All of it will eventually lead through high school, getting to the Regents exam in 11th grade, and then by 12th grade you'll have the choices that you have. It's pretty straightforward at 9th. We also have 2 supplemental courses if you feel you need that extra support through our reading and writing class, and we also offer AIS. So if you have any sort of questions about the English curriculum, we have a few members of the department who will be here, as well as myself in our hallway, and we'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
So I just want to add one item. Mrs. Evans had said there's always questions from parents regarding how many honors classes should my student take if honors classes or an accelerated pathway is something you're considering. My typical answer is as many as your child would want to take, considering all the other activities they may do, how many sports they play, the level of activity your family engages in. Are you out of town every weekend for a travel basketball, hockey? There's always a balance with not stressing teenagers out too much, but pushing them to reach their potential. So you don't have to select an accelerated every content. You can select the accelerated contents for the course types that your child enjoys taking, thinks that maybe that's an area they would want to go into as an adult for a job or college, and they can talk to their counselor about picking and choosing which courses would be most appropriate. So I just wanted to share that. Okay? Next, Mrs. Cisco is going to chat a little bit about some of the support we have.
Hi, my name is Melissa Cisco. I'm one of the assistant principals here. And some of our department coordinators touched a little bit on some of the alternative pathways that we offer. We understand that each student is going to be different and their needs are going to be different. And so we do offer some different pathways for students. They don't have to go into necessarily a math or science Regents or Regents honors class. If they struggle in, struggle in math or struggle in science, there are other options for them. And you can see here that we do have, Mrs. Stroke talked about the 1A algebra course. And then the next year they would take a 1B. And then in science, instead of taking a Regents level Earth Science, they may prefer to take the environmental science course that Mr. Kiwanis talked about. So like we said, not everyone is going to have the same path, and that's totally fine. So just know and rest easy that we do have alternative pathways for them. And then somebody also touched on AIS. AIS is Academic Intervention Services. Some of you may think, well, that's only reading or math. But at the high school level, AIS is offered to students in social studies, English, math, and science. So if your students are struggling, they will be put into an AIS course. If they fail a Regents, they will be put into an AIS course to give them that extra support so that they are successful on the Regents exam and in their course. This is not a credit-bearing course, and they don't get graded traditionally. The teachers are really standards-based. They look at the standards in which they are learning that year, and they give them support in those standards so that they are able to complete their coursework and be successful on the Regents exam. And of course, if you have any questions on that, I will be around this evening, or you can send me an email. My name is Melissa Cisco. And now we're going to hear from Mrs. Stats.
Hi. I'm Missy Stats. This is my 29th year teaching studio and art. If I had you in the past, I apologize. I probably was just as crazy then as I am now. Your freshmen are being offered 2 art classes, studio and art, and drawing and painting. Drawing and painting offers college credit for it, CCC, that Cuba Community College. Studio is the choice that most of your freshmen will make. We do a bunch of different things. It gives them the 1 unit of art that they need to graduate, and it prepares them for the many, many, many other electives that we have. If your child is currently in studio and art, they're going to take drawing and painting. It's just a little bit more advanced path and gets them ready for the next step. I wanted to reiterate what Dr. Sweeney said. My parents went here, I went here, my husband went here, and both my children went here. And I have always felt that we do an outstanding job taking care of your children. So don't worry, somebody's got them. And if somebody doesn't have them, you email me and I'll get them. It's gonna be okay, I promise. I'm gonna be the kids afterwards that are gonna take you on a little tour. So if you'd like to see, we have like an art cluster over there. See that, but I'm going to be in room 1029 if you want to talk to me about art or probably more life in general. I'd love to chat with you. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Kara Young. I'm the department coordinator for world languages at Paul V. Moore. First I'm going to talk about a requirement, and then I'll talk about an option, an elective that we have here. So Spanish 1 is our requirement. You have to have 1 credit of foreign language in order to graduate from Paul V. Moore, unless your student is exempt from foreign language. So this is intended for students who were not successful on the 8th grade proficiency exam at the middle school. It would fulfill the New York State credit requirement. So who would take this course? Students that did not pass the 8th grade proficiency, students that are currently enrolled in the reading program at the middle school would then have to take Spanish 1 at the high school. Students that have moved in from another district and didn't start Spanish or French with their cohort in 7th grade would then have to take Spanish 1. Or students that just want to start a new language. Maybe they started with French at the middle school and they're choosing to switch. And then you have an option once you are successful in Spanish 1, and I'm, by the way, only mentioning Spanish 1 at the high school because there is not a French 1. You would then have the option of taking Spanish 2, and if you were successful in French 1, you would have the option of continuing with French 2. So these courses are not required for graduation, but we do encourage that you continue with a foreign language. It helps you be more marketable for college and employment in the future. So again, who would take this course? Students that have been successful on the proficiency exam in 8th grade. So those are basically the 2 options. And again, I just want to repeat what Dr. Sweeney said. I thank you so much for being here tonight. I'll be upstairs, foreign languages in the social studies wing, so if anybody has any foreign language questions, Mr. Madison and I will be up there.
I'm filling in for Mr. Haldeman, who has a rehearsal this evening, and so I want to share what he wrote to me. Symphonic band is the only choice for 8th grade band students, and concert chorale is the only choice for 8th grade chorus students. We do have a music in our lives which is an option for, it's a general ed music class, but it is not a substitute for band or chorus students. He included a couple pictures of our wonderful concert groups. And he said certainly if anyone has any questions about either band or chorus, you can either speak with your current teachers who will pass along those questions to him or your counselor. Now I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Band.
Thank you. Hi. So my name is Katrina Van. I'm one of the tech ed teachers here at the high school, and I have a couple of selections, so I'm going to go kind of fast because I only get 2 minutes. Accordingly, we'll try. So in a tech class next year, your student could do some of the following. We have a lot to go over. Draw and design and test their own innovations. This is very much like the 8th grade tech that they're in right now. Just a little more advanced, a little more math, a little more measurement, but just as much fun. If your student, also it actually does cover their art requirement if they need it, and it is a prerequisite for our college CAD course as well. Some pictures of some of the projects they would do in this class. If they're a little more on the engineering track, there is actually a class called Engineering 1, and in this, it's basically 8th grade tech with a lot more math and a lot more science, and it goes into our Engineering 2 class as well. It's also a prerequisite for the college CAD, but not an art credit. There is a full woodworking lab with the traditional style woodworking equipment and updated CNC machines. These are some of the creations that they've made. We have a beginner and advanced woodworking class. We have a full auto lab and small engine lab with a lift. One half of the year they could learn how to take care of their car, and the next half they could learn how to take care of anything from their ATV to their small engine lawnmower, snowblower. We do a residential construction class, which teaches you how to actually build a house from the foundation up. And if you saw anything you think your kid would like, because again, the big deal is, out of all the electives we're talking about, they've got to want to come. All right, we want kids in our class that want to be there. So listen, ask them what they are interested in, and make sure that they choose something that they're going to be excited to come to next year, because it makes all the difference. Just trust me, even if there's only one, it makes a difference in how they get out of bed and how they come to school. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to business. Thank you. I'll be out here in the little entryway if someone wants to talk to.
Hi everybody, I'm Carol Driscoll. I am in the business department at Paul B. Moore. We have some stats up here for you. The 5 most popular college majors for classes of 2022, you can see number 2 there is business and management, and we're able to answer those needs for your children. First of all, we have the DECA Business Club. We're very proud of our DECA Business Club. We are the largest one in the region. If you're a 9th grader, you do not need to be taking a business class to be part of DECA. And we encourage all of the kids to come to the first meeting and just learn about it. It's a great deal of fun. I will be upstairs to answer more questions about that because I actually have a lot of classes to go through as well. So as a 9th grader in the business department, you can take Google Apps. Google Apps is going to teach you everything you need to know about Google for your high school career. You will be able to impress all of your teachers. We also have Introduction to Business, where we do a simulation and kids are able to see how a business is run from beginning to end on the simulation. We have Social Media and Business. This is a fairly new class for us, and the kids are absolutely loving it. And they're able to create their Instagrams, their Snapchats, and then they're also able to see how social media is incorporated into the business world today and how to be effective using that. We have video game design and web design. We have a great new program that we're using this year called Alice, where the kids are able to make animations, 3D animations. It's really awesome. And then we have web design, where kids are able to use different programs to create websites from beginning to end. And now I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Sweeney.
So we're just about done with our informational presentation, which again, not meant to be overwhelming. We're just trying to give you that broad overview so that when your child meets with Mrs. Evans and starts talking about what do I pick for next year, they'll have some idea. So shortly we're going to turn you loose, and we've got a number of our high school students who will be out in the lobby, the commons area, and they'll be able to bring you to see particular areas. You don't have to tour the whole building. You can say, I want to go see the art rooms, I want to go see the technology rooms, and they'll bring you right to those areas. But you certainly can let them lead you around and do a short tour of the entire building. This is what I would say. As a mom, high school goes so quickly. As a high school principal, I have always felt that. I just don't understand the time warp that happens between when your sweet little children come in as 9th graders and the young adults that they will leave, you know, in the blink of an eye. Enjoy every day, because it does go so quickly, and before you know it, you're in that sweet, sour feeling of they're getting their own apartment, they're going to the dorms, they're moving in with a friend. They can be very successful here. To the kids, this is what I would advise. Ask for help when you need it. That's what our jobs are. We're here to help you be successful and make good choices. So when you come here right from the start, know who your school counselor is, get to know us in the office. It's not a place to come only if you're in trouble. You can come talk to us if you need help with things. And it's easier to get out ahead of something than to wait until it's a problem. We're all here, from your teachers, to the counselors, to the administrative team. We have a lot of support folks. We have 3 school social workers, 2 school psychologists. You know, the folks in the lunchroom are welcoming and friendly. They will show you how to go through the lunch line. You don't have to worry about that kind of thing. We're really focused on making this the easiest transition for you. And Mr. Wales, did you want to talk about this last bit?
So just so that everyone can understand the process after this evening, next Wednesday, the 8th grade students will come up. They'll get a similar type of presentation and then have also the opportunity to be able to see different departments within the building. Mrs. Evans will then begin the course selection process. So when I spoke with her yesterday morning, she was going to kind of give families next Thursday, next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as an opportunity for families to be able to talk. And then she will begin on Monday the 30th out of the FACS classes, doing the course selection. She will send home a copy of it. I believe she has it in duplicate or triplicate. So she'll send that home. She would love it if you could sign it and give it back to your child and have it returned to the counseling office or directly to Mrs. Evans. She would love that. That way she knows that you've seen it and kind of have approved of those selections. Certainly, if you have any questions throughout this process, you can email Mrs. Evans as her email is up there.
So we thank you very much for coming. This is the conclusion of our formal presentation, but we have a number of teachers who will be available in their classrooms, and we have students out in the commons area. We'll also be out there if you have any questions and you want to come ask us. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. Oh, one more thing. So sorry. Some of you picked up the parent paper that's right out on the table. It's the evaluation form. If you could do that for us, we'd love your thoughts.